And welcome to lecture 19. Lecture 19, we will continue to look at the Middle East with an emphasis on Yemen, Oman, and the UAE, which stands for the United Arab Emirates. Let's take a quick look at the map, do just a short review, and then we'll jump into those three new countries. Okay, there we have it, the Middle East. You know most of them already. You know the little island country. That is Cyprus, of course. And what's this big one up here? Yep, that's Turkey. What's over here? Yeah, that's Egypt. Now, is Egypt in the Middle East? No, we're consider that in Africa. However, it is on your Middle East test because it plays a significant role in the Middle East. Okay, up here we saw a country with the same name as a U.S. state. There's Georgia. Here is Azerbaijan, we'll put AZ, and here is Armenia. Now, we talked about Azerbaijan and Armenia not getting along too well. Yeah, they're still not getting along. Today's newspaper talked about them shooting at each other over that disputed area that we talked about earlier. Okay, here we have Syria in the middle of a big civil war. Here we have Lebanon, this country right here. Lebanon has got its own problems, including a massive explosion that leveled half of the country, or half of the capital. Okay, we have Israel right here, this little tiny country, with Gaza Strip on one side and West Bank on the other. West Bank of what river? The Jordan River. The Jordan River. Speaking of Jordan, this country that's shaped like a backwards J is Jordan. Okay, backwards J is Jordan, if that helps you remember, great. We talked about the Cold War going on in the Middle East between Iran, this big guy over here, and Saudi Arabia, this big guy over here. They do not get along. We'll talk a little bit more about that today. Up here we have Iraq. Okay, Iraq, one of the places where Saudis and Iran are competing with each other. Okay, so we have Iraq there. This little country is Kuwait. Actually, I don't think we've talked about that one yet, have we? Let's look at some of the waterways. What's this big thing over here, the long one with the long name? If you said Mediterranean, you are correct. Here we have the Black Sea, and it's connected to the Aegean by the Strait of the Dardanelles. Here's the Caspian Sea up here, home to oil and caviar. Here's the other sea with a color name. This, of course, is the famous Red Sea. Over here we have the Persian Gulf, the Persian Gulf. Okay, so hopefully you are getting all of those memorized. But today we're going to look at these three right here. Okay. We're going to look at Yemen. We're going to look at Oman. Yeah, it's just like Oman, but we pronounce it Oman. And we're going to look at the UAE, stands for United Arab Emirates, right here. United Arab Emirates, super rich country. Yeah, super rich country. Okay, so those are three we're looking at today: Yemen, Oman, United Arab Emirates. All right, let me pull up some notes here for you. All right, talk about Yemen first. Yemen's a fair-sized country, 27 million, and it is all messed up. Remember we talked about the Arab Spring. Well, the Arab Spring affected all of the Middle East, and including Yemen. And in Yemen, we had an uprising. We have the Houthis and the Hadi, okay, two basic tribes, don't get along with each other. Hadi control the government. Houthis didn't like it. Okay. Now, remember, we have a Cold War playing out in the Middle East between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So the Iranians are supporting the Houthis, the Saudi Arabians supporting the government. And they have managed to totally destroy the country. There's famine going on. People are starving to death. Cholera is killing hundreds. Cholera, you don't have pure water, you get sick. And that's what's going on with Yemen. Now, the Iranians have been supplying the Houthi rebels with some rockets, some missiles. Not the most sophisticated things in the world, but they are having an impact on what's going on because the Houthis are firing these missiles into Saudi Arabia. So far, they have not hit any major targets, but what happens when they do? Here's just a short clip of a newscast on this.
Well, Saudi Arabia says it intercepted 7 ballistic missiles fired overnight by Iranian-aligned rebels in Yemen. Video shows explosions in the night sky over the Saudi capital of Riyadh. One person was reportedly killed by falling debris. A Saudi-led coalition has been fighting in Yemen for 3 years. Saudi leaders blame rival Iran for supplying the missiles, but Iran has denied any role in that conflict.
Okay, Saudi Arabia says a dangerous thing going on there. All we need is one of those missiles that hits something major, like the airport or important government building or someplace where it causes mass casualties, and then we have even more trouble. Okay, so that's what's going on in Yemen right now. Let's take a look at the next one. Now, where Yemen is a mess, lots of war going on, in Oman, it's peaceful. In fact, you can see down the notes there, it's the 70th most peaceful country as determined by the Global Peace Index, which looks at all kinds of crime and different kinds of stuff. Oman is doing very well. And lots of people say it was because of the leadership that they have had. A guy named Al Said was basically the guy ever since 1970. I mean, he ruled for half a century. Just died here recently, last January. So how come things are so well there? Well, the Omanis have kind of kept themselves out of a lot of the unhappiness that afflicts other countries. They're not part of the big oil industry there. They have a little bit, but nothing like Saudi Arabia or Iran or the United Arab Emirates. But they have some. But they rely on other things. You can see tourism and produce and things. The country is peaceful, and that's probably why they have such good tourism there. People want to get out of their particular Arab country where everybody's being killed and where there's tension and go someplace nice and pleasant like Oman. Okay, so Oman doing real well for themselves. Finally, United Arab Emirates. This is an absolutely fascinating country. It says United Arab Emirates with an S. That's because there are 7 emirates. An emirate is simply a chunk of land that is ruled by an emir, and so they call them emirates. These 7 decided, let's all get together and form one little group, and so they did. Look at the population number, 9.2 million, 1.4 million are citizens. So what about this other 8 million people? Who are they? They are expatriates. The United Arab Emirates, they are so wealthy, tons of oil. None of them really have to work at anything manual, and yet manual jobs need to be done. So they bring in millions of expats from other countries, lots of them from Pakistan. And they come, they work, they make enough money that they can send back to their families and support them. But they're the ones that do all of the work. Now, this would make me a little bit nervous if actually the locals are outnumbered so much by the expats, but it seems to work for the United Arab Emirates. Now, United Arab Emirates are doing some amazing things with all that money that they've got. They are building some incredible buildings, including the tallest building in the world, the Khalif Towers, which 160 stories high. It's basically a half-mile high in the building, the tallest building in the world. But they're dredging up sand and rock out of the Persian Gulf, turning it into new islands, luxury islands, where they're selling house lots so everybody can have have oceanfront beach there, Persian Gulf front, I guess, instead of the Persian Gulf. They're just doing some incredible things there. I'm going to end with a video on Dubai. It's just talking about what an incredible place it is. Watch as much of it as you are interested in watching. I do want you to watch just the first few minutes where you can kind of see the building that is going on there. It is a remarkable place. Okay, so that's it for lecture 19, other than the video that you're going to watch. And tomorrow we'll wrap up the Middle East with Bahrain, Qatar. We'll go over some capitals. And hey, have a good day.
Hey guys, and welcome to Dubai. Dubai is a city and an emirate in the United Arab Emirates, known for luxury shopping, ultra-modern architecture, and sandy beaches. Dubai was turned from a desert backwater into one of the world's most futuristic cities in less than 50 years. Where is Dubai located? In the eastern part of the Arabian Peninsula, on the coast of the Persian Gulf. The city is growing so fast, I was actually visiting it back in 1995 with my dad, and when I came here for the second time, I couldn't recognize anything. My first impression was that the city is just so overwhelming. Different parts of the city are just so spread out, and it's not clear how to get from one place to another. First of all, let's point out some cultural aspects. Although Dubai is the most liberal of the 7 Emirates, it is still an Arab emirate, and much of its culture is influenced by Islam. Criticizing the royal family, local laws, or the country in general will probably get you in trouble. Drinking in public or just being intoxicated in public is also against the law. When visiting public places, you gotta follow a certain dress code. Make sure you cover your shoulders and knees. Also, no kissing or hugging in public. You will hear a call to the prayer 5 times a day, no matter where you are, outside, in a mall, or at a business meeting. Filming people is basically illegal. You gotta ask for their permission first. Coffee good? Very good. The population of the city is 3.3 million people, and every year it increases by 170,000 people. You might be surprised, but the locals, or Emiratis, only make up about 10% of the population. Looking at all the luxury of Dubai, it might seem that everyone must be pretty wealthy around here, which is often the case for locals and some high-skilled expatriates coming from countries like the US, UK, and Canada. But it's a completely different story for the construction workers and the taxi drivers that come from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Nigeria, Egypt, and other countries, who only average about $600 or $700 a month.
Hello. Hi everyone. I'm Nazmul. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm in Dubai taxi.
What's your name?
My name is Sher Muhammad.
Where do you come from?
Pakistan, Peshawar.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
They don't live in fancy neighborhoods. Rather, they live in communities such as this one. They can't afford to bring their families over here. And sometimes several men have to share one room. They're here to make some money and send it back to their home country. I want to mention this guy. He's from Egypt. He saw us on the subway trying to figure out how to get to a certain place, and he came to our rescue. He took us all the way to the destination and then even stopped to buy some cold drinks, which was very nice.
I'm asking you to make a donation before the September FEC deadline so that we can flip the Senate.
Of him. None of those people had plans to stay here longer than they needed to, because UAE citizenship is almost impossible to obtain. Even if you're born here, it doesn't change anything unless one of your parents is an Emirati. Just imagine a situation, say a young couple that comes from Egypt comes to live and work in Dubai. They give birth to a child who grows up, gets their education here, gets a job afterwards, and continues living in Dubai, thinking that Dubai is their home. Then that person's working visa is not extended for whatever reason, and they're told, go home. Go home where, they ask. Go home to Egypt, where that person had never been in their lifetime. In Dubai, the number of men exceeds that of women by more than double. There's about 2.5 males for every female. Today, less than 5% of the Emirates' revenue comes from oil. Instead, the economy relies on trade, tourism, aviation, financial services, and real estate. Tourism is doing well. Dubai is the 4th most visited city in the world. The city had 15 million overnight visitors in 2016. But the real estate situation is another story. Those who want to invest in Dubai have to keep an eye on the market. Several years ago, Dubai already found itself in a difficult situation when it needed a $20 billion bailout from its oil-rich neighbor, Abu Dhabi, to escape a debt crisis caused by collapsing property prices. Since 2014, residential property prices have dropped by more than 15% and are still falling. The housing market remains oversupplied, and looking at all the ongoing projects, I get a feeling that it might stay this way for a while. At the same time, they're expecting the city population to double by 2027. Everyone's betting on Expo 2020 to turn things around, for which Dubai is ready to spend $8 billion on infrastructure. Dubai has always been an attractive place to run a business for yet another reason: zero taxes. But in 2018, the government implemented value-added tax VAT at a rate of 5%. Not too bad, but it's not zero anymore. Dubai is in the desert and it's hot. Summer days can be as hot as 50 Celsius or 122 Fahrenheit, and it's sunny throughout the year. It is hotter here than in Phoenix, Arizona, so you get the picture. Even the taxi drivers from Egypt that I talked to said that in the summertime it's hotter here than it is in Egypt. It's in the desert, so water supply is a major challenge. Close to 99% of potable drinking water in Dubai comes from desalination plants. Just imagine how many cubic meters of water they need every day for the city. In this part of the world, you know a city is wealthy when it has a lot of green parks and gardens and palm trees.
You know Dubai is located in the desert, so it takes a lot of water to keep it all green and nice. Everywhere you will see some water systems and some hoses. Look at these flowers. There are hoses everywhere. And you can't have too much fur. When it's 50 outside, I mean, you gotta keep it short, right?
Dubai is not very walkable, so you'll have to be relying on public transportation to get you around. But most people just prefer to use taxis. Dubai is jam-packed with things that are designed to be the biggest or the most extravagant in the world. It has this attitude of nothing is impossible. The Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. It's an 830-meter tall tower that dominates the skyscraper-filled skyline. By the way, Burj in Arabic means a building. While without a doubt it's a true masterpiece, it might be just a little bit of an overrated site for tourists. Do you really want to waste 2 or 3 hours in line just to see the city from above? I decided to pass on the idea because you can admire the building from outside for free. But did you know they're already building a taller building? It's called Dubai Creek Tower, and it will be at least 100 meters taller than Burj Khalifa. Dubai has the world's largest flower garden, Dubai Miracle Garden. The garden has a total of 45 million flowers. So nice to find yourself in this beautiful area and take a break from the busy city.
We are in the beautiful Miracle Garden in Dubai, and it seems like it's everything they've been lacking. All the greenery and all the different kinds of flowers. Dubai is basically a desert, and over here you feel like you're in Thailand, and it's just a wonderful place, and you should definitely visit that if you're in Dubai.
During the summer months, the garden stays closed for obvious reasons. It's too hot.
Sorry about that.
Man, sorry, I didn't see that, kid.